Hello. Hello. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing today? So excited to have you here, even though my day started a little late, but it's okay. But welcome to day number one of Feeling to Healing. This five for the next five few days, we're going to be embarking into what is it about feeling our emotions? How can we actually allow ourselves to feel them so that we can heal from them? And also, in a sense, healing is not so much getting rid of the emotions or any baggage that we think we're carrying, or any kind of pain, or any kind of weight that we feel in our body. But healing is more about being okay with them as well, and then assessing and saying, okay, if this is going to be with me, how can we both live and work together? Hi, Brujilda. Thank you for joining in. And for those of you who signed up and getting my emails, I know it's been kind of crazy. But thank you so much for putting up with me in a sense. And so let's just go ahead and start. And for those of you who are watching the video, this live, and not sure about the emails, is there's a link, I think, in a couple posts before this about the 5 days of healing to feeling to healing. And so if you signed up, you'll be getting emails from me with videos about some practices that we'll be doing during this whole week. Some of them are breath work practices, meditation, journaling prompts, and then I also will be sharing some recipes, whether it is self-care recipes like baths and teas and all of that, and if you want, also some supportive food recipes. Okay, so today's topic. So, first of all, let's just kind of summarize why we are here. Okay. So, if you are here, probably either you are a highly sensitive person, maybe you are an empath, maybe you've been feeling something on your shoulders. Maybe you react right away to whatever trigger that is around you. Maybe somebody's saying something to you. Maybe you're driving and you kind of see people kind of acting differently than you, and then you react, right? Like right away we kind of get a little pissed or annoyed, and we're like, rah, like we're bursting, because something is not along the lines of how we will like things to be around us, or how we will react, in a sense, if it was from our point of view, right? And that's normal, that is fine, we all are human beings. And that's why it's something that we get to understand, that we all are emotional beings as well. We all have emotions, we all hold on to some emotions, and it is okay in any kind of way how we respond or react to life in general. It's okay, it is fine, there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing is when people get stuck, and I've heard this many times, including myself, and that is, people will come and say, oh my gosh, Wendy, I don't know what it is, but I feel like something is holding me back. Like I want to take that one step forward. I want to decide on this project or whatever that is, but I feel like something is pulling me back. I'm feeling like there is some sort of, whether it's energy or a thought, or maybe some sort of invisible really weight that is on their body, and that's why they kind of feel like weighted down. And sometimes this comes through their thinking process, or how they respond to people around them in their relationships. And in most of the time, a lot of these holdups are because of emotions that we'll be holding for so long, and we have not been able to express them. We have not been able to say, this is how I'm feeling today, or this is how it is, this is how this looks like to me. A lot of us have grown up in a society that we've kind of learned that it is okay to be quiet and not say anything, because either one, we don't want to hurt people, two, we have that fear of rejection, of what people are going to say, if people are going to judge us. We have that fear of maybe if we say something, or if we say too much, we're going to be labeled as crazy or labeled as unstable, because for whatever reason, and this is historically from years and years and years and years and societies back, that we've learned about categorizing things, good or bad. So either you follow the rules and follow everything that is supposed to be the right way, you are a good person, you are sane, you're healthy, and all of that. But if you go away from that and you kind of go on your own path, you're labeled as crazy, as unstable, unhealthy, and so on. And so throughout generations, we've learned that there's a good thing and there's a bad thing. And maybe there's something in the middle, but we haven't really learned so much about being okay with both sides. So, and probably if you're here, you're kind of like, well, yeah, sometimes it feels like I don't want to choose one way or the other, or maybe I want to go more towards the unhealthy, which is quote unquote, because there's nothing, I don't think there's anything that is broken, unhealthy, or crazy, or anything like that. And if we're going to be using those terms, then I will say it is okay to be that, okay? Because we all are here being different. It is okay for us to be different. It is okay to have different ways of thinking. It is okay to have different ways of processing emotions. It is okay to express ourselves. It is okay to say, you know what, no, I don't like this. Or I want to say something about what you had to say, about what you are doing that does not agree with what I think. But the beautiful thing is getting into a conversation that is a mutual exchange of ideas and thoughts rather than confrontation, which is something that a lot of us are more used to. So, oh my gosh, my throat. Hold on a second. So that's like a little summary to understand to understand how or where we come from when it comes to feeling our emotions, when it comes to holding to those emotions. Because when we are not able to express, when we're not able to say anything, or we're holding up, it kind of feels like, I don't know about you guys, let me know if you're watching the replay or the live, but sometimes it's going to feel like something like a pressure on your chest or on your throat. Now, this is something that maybe is not easily perceived by people. It's something that I feel like the more aware we become in our body is when we actually are catching up more on those feelings, right? But the most common thing that people will express is, yes, I feel like I have something stuck in my throat and I can't see anything. And also notice maybe sometimes for some reason, if you're talking to someone and all of a sudden you start kind of like choking, not choking, but like like clearing your throat, or maybe you're kind of like for some reason you stop yourself from saying something, and it is an unconscious reflex, not reflect, hold on, reflex. It is something that consciously happened, and that's because already your mind is trying to keep you safe, because that's all it knows, that's all it knows. And that's why sometimes learning all these different techniques, learning more about ourselves, it really requires a lot of love and compassion, because we, number one, we are the very first critic of ourselves, of our lives, of what we do, how we say, right? But at the same time, if you really think about it, nobody else is really paying attention. And if they are paying attention, they'll forget about it a minute later, right? Like today, I'm doing this, like the email series, and I didn't, yesterday actually, and I didn't catch it. And I guess I kind of like didn't pause or something. So there were two emails that were sent out that were not meant to be sent out. One wasn't even complete. And I'm like, I'm okay with it, because if they see it, it's not like they're going to, say, oh my God, what about, whatever coach, or I honestly, I don't even care. But that, I've gotten to this place because I realized that if I'm the one putting the pressure on myself, I'm the one who is not having fun. I'm the one who is not really enjoying the process. And most people don't even pay attention. Most people don't even care. They're not going to remember you by that one email that was sent. Okay. So it's better to focus more in what impact we can make now, rather than focusing in the what ifs. What if people do this, or what if like I don't do the things that I'm supposed to do. So where are these coming from now that we know that they are there for some reason? Because the thing is that a lot of us think, wait a minute, why am I having this feeling? Why does it feel like I'm stuck? Why does it feel like I react without thinking? Why do my relationship with my sister, my brother, my parents, or whoever around you, why does it feel like we don't have a good communication system, or that feeling resentment maybe? The most common ones are resentment, anger, sadness, um, and sometimes we don't know, we can't tell where it's coming from. And I'll tell you little stories throughout our 5 days of things that have come up to during my process, healing process, as well as other people's experiences. But I want you to understand that one, we are emotional people, so we will always have those kind of emotions. Number two is that a lot of them are beliefs and emotions that we have learned throughout our life since the time when we were born until maybe about 7 to 10 years old. And they are really tied together with our belief system. So anything that was said from our parents, from our family, from around us, from society, whoever you were around with, whatever was said around you at the time when you were growing up during those ages, right? Whatever you were experiencing at that time. Again, it could be something that you heard, it could be something that you saw, even something that people did to you, like being abused or being, I mean, there are so many different things that could have happened. Anything that was pretty much happening around you was in a sense already forming a belief about you, and then also about everything else outside of you, because especially when we are that young, when we are little, that's when we are actually creating our belief system in safety, if we're feeling safe, if we're well taken care of, if we are actually surviving. Because if you really think about it, from the time when we're a baby, we are very vulnerable. We don't have the resources yet to withstand anything. So we really depend on our parents first and then everyone else around after that, right? So when things change, or however the dynamics are, that's how we start actually programming our mind to feeling safe, feeling like we actually have a chance of surviving. That's already a human response, okay? When we're actually start feeling our worth, or actually not so much feeling, but building that belief for being worthy, and also feeling that we belong to some place or to someone, because that's what we all want. That's how our spiritual body is really here to do as well. Is really to experience love, experience community, experience togetherness as human beings and as soulful beings. And if something is not there, if something is lacking, if something is different than the usual, maybe, then we will remember that something going to be ingrained. Now, it's not just the belief that is being formed, but most of the time, if not all the time, the belief comes together with a emotion. So if a kid is feeling abandoned, like maybe the parents were not there, maybe the community wasn't there, he or she was probably abused as a child, very, let's just say, very bad things happened to that child. Probably that kid is going to grow up feeling unworthy, not feeling safe, feeling like everybody is betraying him or her, feeling abandoned. So what are the emotions that come through as those experiences are happening? A lot of sadness, maybe anger as well, because they're probably going to be thinking, unconsciously thinking, what the hell, like, why am I not taken care of? Where are my parents? Like, why did I do wrong? Anger towards themselves, or anger towards the people that he or she was expecting to be taken care from. It could be sadness again, it could be also resentment. So there's so many things that are going to be tied up together to that belief. So really, when we're feeling in a particular way, let's say we're feeling angry for some reason, and this is not new actually, guys. I know a lot of people from the outside that look fine, actually, including myself. I, last or 2 years ago, when I was working with my coach, this is something that came up in our conversation, that I was holding on anger towards my parents. And I'll tell you my story later on. But one of the things is, on the outside, everything is fine. Everything seems to be great. Nothing is happening. Life is good and positive and happy. But then all of a sudden, every now and then, and I think oh no, my internet is kind of funky. Every now and then there will be things that will pop, like triggers that will come and then cause some sort of, like imbalance, and then thinking or feeling, oh, not safe again, be feeling abandoned again. So these feelings of anger, any kind of emotions that are coming through, they are way deeper in our minds, and they are there for a long time. And sometimes what happens is we learn to just cover them, pretend that it's not there. We learn to just kind of like omit and just keep on moving, keep on living, and not think about it because we think that it's bad. Like if we think about it, it means that probably it's gonna happen or it's gonna stay with us. But really, in reality, it is if we actually give it attention, give it what, because really emotions, that's what they need. And if there is an underlying message, what I call them an underlying medicine, what emotions want, they want our attention. They want to be acknowledged. They want our attention because they are here to give us something to work on. And so if we kind of pretend that we don't see, we don't hear, and we just keep moving on, and hopefully they'll go away, my anger will go away, sadness will go away, anything and everything that is uncomfortable is going to go away, and I just pretend that I don't see it, and it goes away, and life is fine. 10 years later, 20 years later, probably it's going to come back. 40 years later, it's going to come back. So in a sense, it is better to be working on them when we are allowing ourselves to do that at any point in our lives, and really bring that awareness to it, and not just pretend that it's not there, because it's not going to go away. So most of our emotions are those repressed emotions that we've been holding on for so long. And so if you really think about it, to answer the question, where do they really come from? Some of them, as we just talked about, beliefs and emotions and how they're tied together. Well, some of them, if you really think about it, are not really ours. They are maybe our parents, maybe the society we lived in, maybe the people around us. Because, let's say, for example, money, because this is the most common thing that we see nowadays. People thinking, oh my gosh, I have to work so hard to get money. I have to sacrifice my life, my time, everything else to work so hard to save so I can retire. And then when I'm 65 or something, finally I retire. But then most times it's like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I don't even feel like traveling or doing what I always wanted to do when I retire, right? This is just an example. So why are we thinking that money is so hard to get? Why are we thinking that we have to work so hard and sacrifice our lives, our time, our family in order for us to save? Number one, yes, I get it. We all are struggling, especially these days, with money and financial stability, and we already have that program in our mind that this is just how it is, and there's no way out. So we just have to stick with it. But then also, if we look around, if we are open to see, there are so many other opportunities out there. And if you see the newer generation, and if you see people who are entrepreneurs, who are just pretty much, okay, I don't have any money, I can just sell, this for whatever, and start creating, having ideas and being in that creative mode. And so what would be the difference between the two? It really is about our beliefs, because maybe we grew up thinking and believing from our parents, from our grandparents, and really it is about the society at the time, that we just have to keep on working hard and saving, and that money is scarce, that there's not a lot of money, and that if you have some right now, you better hold on to it because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That is really the mentality from way back in the day, and thankfully it is changing. I see it now in newer generations, and also because I'm in the space of I'm still new, but entrepreneurship. I see the new entrepreneurs, the younger generation being entrepreneurs. They don't really think so much of that. Their problems are a little different. Their problems are not so much money, even though they don't have a lot of money. But it's really the mental state. It's really getting to know where you are physically in the moment and where you are mentally. Like what your beliefs are is what you will start creating, right? So for somebody who thinks that money is so hard to get, well, heck yeah, it's gonna be hard to get because that's all they're thinking, and probably their choices are going to be based on those beliefs, those thoughts, right? Like, no, I cannot, like I'm not a good. This is what I used to say, and that was, I'm not a person who can sell. I'm not good at sales, for example. I've been in so many uh, retail or network marketing companies, and my thought was like, oh my gosh, I can't sell. I can't charge people. And the same thing for other things, right? Like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to, I can't have fun because if I have fun, I'm going to be spending money. And then that's going to take away from my savings and from my future activities of having fun. So we kind of live in the future rather than living in the now, which, I mean, honestly, it is a lot more important, right? So those beliefs are not really mine. If I really think about it, it's like, where did I get this from? And then if we really process and think about it, it's like, oh, okay, I remember my parents said these things, maybe, and this is a common thing. A lot of women I work with, a lot of them say the same thing. Like, oh yeah, like I remember my dad saying, no, you only get like, I don't know, $5. I don't know because I didn't grow up here, but let's say $5 for your allowance for the week or something because we don't have enough. Or if you wanted to buy something, if you wanted a toy and you ask for it, they will say, did you do your homework? Did you get good grades? So basically, there has to be a reward. So we learn about that you have to work so hard, get A's, good grades, be a good student, perform well, be successful in order for you to get a cake, in order for you to get a toy, in order for you to get a reward. So we learn that, oh, I have to work so hard to be a good person and be the top of the list in order to have fun, in order to get something. Which in reality, it's like, oh my gosh, that's kind of sad because it's not really reflecting our self worth because we are valuing ourselves based on the results of what we do, not in who we really are. And that's something that I feel like we need to really start teaching our kids, that they're worthy no matter what. Even if they don't get good grades, they're still worthy. They're still so deserving of anything and everything they want. Now, obviously, as parents, we get to teach them that there are also responsibilities and not everything is easy. Not everything is going to be given to them. They still have to kind of work for it. But then it's also up to us in teaching them the value of it, that they should know that they are well worth of anything and everything they want. But of course, it does require a little effort, a little, like giving it, right? So anyway, so I kind of like digress a little bit, but in essence, our beliefs, our emotions are tied together. So sometimes it is ours, the times when it is really ours is once we start actually having more consciousness and more awareness of who we really were as a person, as a human being, and when it was the time when we were actually able to make our own choices. Before then, when we were kids, a lot of those beliefs and emotions tied together, it was more related to who was around there, who the parent, the family, whoever who was around there saying all these different things that they just were not malicious. They just were living life however they learned. Because I bet you their lifestyle when they were young, it was pretty much the same or a little different than yours, right? So it's really coming to a good understanding that if it is not ours, why are we holding on to them? If it is not ours, why are we feeling resentful? And we'll talk more about this because I got examples about it. Like for instance, super quick, I've up until recently I was still holding on to a lot of anger and resentment towards both my mom and dad, and for reasons that I created in my mind. But at the same time, I really got to sit down, especially with my dad, not necessarily in front of each other or like he was not really aware of my exercise, but really understanding, you know what, even though my relationship with him or how I created this way of thinking based on his actions at the time were because he also didn't have a good experience himself. So he was also quote unquote being a victim. So who am I to judge someone who was also a child feeling lonely, feeling abandoned, feeling alone? And so it kind of got me into that place of, okay, get it together, Wendy, because you, one, you were not alone. You're not alone now. That's in the past. But two, your parents or whoever who was involved, it wasn't completely their fault either because they had also suffered in a way, in quotes, right? They've also gone through something similar or maybe a little worse than you. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to say today. So that's it for today's topic. And where are these little emotions coming from, and what to do with them? Now, if you subscribe to the 5 days, you're getting an email in a little bit, and I'll give you more prompts and things to do. Along with, actually, you should already have a breathwork video, but I can come back at another time and do this. But what I will suggest is go through the email and then go through the breathwork practice, because it's something that really will allow us to get together in our body. Now, through the whole time we will be doing breath work, most of the time I will send a video in your email so that you can do it privately. Maybe I might do it here in the group. I'm not sure, depending on the time. I don't want to go too far out. But what I wanted to say is pay attention to the emails. I have more details, the breathwork technique, and then also journal prompts. And then I'll be later on, I'll be giving you a lot more resources. I think day 4 is when I'll give you a lot more resources about it. So that's it for now. Another thing that is also in your email, but I wanted to remind you of this mantra for today. You know me, I'm always about keeping mantras of affirmations throughout the day, and especially I use my oracle card. So this one is from the moon deck. It is really looking into the moon cycles, and what it says is, my emotions move through cycles and connect me to my truth. So really keep this in mind and remember that what you go through, it is really, in whatever way or another, it is connecting you to who you really are. So, thank you so much, Claudia. So, thank you so much. I love you all. Please let me know how everything is landing for you, if this is helpful. Also, let's invite friends if you're willing to, or if you're called for. Excuse me, hold on a second. Oh my gosh, the weather has been so crazy here, so hopefully I'm not gonna get sick. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, and obviously I'll see you guys in your email, in your inbox. Love you all, and I'll see you soon.